Mets have battled it out at the top of the NL East. With a 2-game lead, it's Jordan Zimmerman's turn. Today he takes on Noah Syndergaard. And all the action you can catch right now on MASN. Weather has broken. Beautiful day for a rubber game at Nationals Park. Mets are here. They've beaten the Nats 3 out of 5 here so far this year. So the season series hotly contested, as is the East Division right now. Last night was one of those 2-gamers. If the Nats win, they're up by 4, but the Mets won, so it's just a 2-game spread. And by the way, the Braves are trying to sweep the Dodgers down in Atlanta today. So the Nats trying to win one before they go on the road for a week and a half. This season series has featured a lot of great pitching, not a lot of hitting, and a lot of close numbers for the Mets and the Nats.
Yeah, been a little different than the past. The Mets have come to play. So a big game here today. You want to get that 3-game lead going into Pittsburgh, and you look at the season series between the ball clubs. I'll even go a step farther than that. The Nats are 46-19 against the Mets since 2012. So they've dominated the series since that year. 25-8 in the last 33 games. They're 16-2 against the Mets at Citi Field, and 9-6 at home. So a big game here today. They've had their way against the Mets. Terry Collins set up his staff for this series, the biggest one of the year for their ball club. And look at Jordan Zimmerman's record the last 5 games.
Yeah, his team wins every time he goes out now. And it's kind of interesting about Noah Syndergaard, kind of reflecting the Mets struggles on the road 0-4. They've had a hard time winning away from Citi Field.
If you haven't seen him, he's 6'6", and he only throws 98. So some high heat today here at Nats Park.
Oh, great. There's another one for the Mets. Jordan Zimmerman, as we mentioned, 5-0. He's also 5-0 in his last 6 starts against the Mets. 21 times he's faced New York, the most against any opponent. Brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Looking at one river today, we'll look at another one tomorrow and be at PNC Park. Right now, Nationals Park just resplendent on a beautiful 83-degree afternoon. Look at that humidity down to 36%. Might be the nicest day of the year we've had for a ball game in the district this year. So the Mets just 2 games back of the Nats in the East. Wilmer Flores, last 14 games now, hitting over .330. He's on a 3-game hitting streak, 6 for 17, and he has 3 hits, a couple of RBIs, and a base on balls. In this series, 4 career hits against Jordan Zimmermann. A lot of these Mets have seen a whole lot of Jordan as he starts for the 22nd time against New York.
I've been waiting for this one for 5 days. He was lights out last start against the Dodgers. He went 4 innings, 3 hits, gave up 2 runs, struck out 3 and walked 1. He threw 63 pitches, and the fastball averaged 93 miles an hour. Sorry, I just had to do that.
Sure. Easy to say when the sun's shining like this. So the Mets hitting only .235, fewest runs in the big leagues. Curtis Granderson steps in. Mark Wegner, 17-year veteran, is behind the plate. Marty Foster at first, and this one is underway with a base hit just like that at 12:36. So Granderson on the attack.
Here's an Nats defense behind Jordan Zimmermann today. Dendecker, Taylor, Harper, your outfield. Desmond Escobar, left side. Espinoza, Robinson, right side. And Wilson Ramos behind the plate. Day game after a night game. Buffalo grinding.
It'll bring in Ruben Tejada. Right now, he's the hottest Mets hitter on a 9-game hitting streak with 13 hits, and he's going to bunt on the first pitch. Zimmermann toward the line. He's always a great athlete, very athletic coming off the mound, but a good bunt by Tejada. Little small ball by the Mets early.
And not wasting any time either. And watch Jordan Zimmermann kind of renegotiate his route here, figuring out I got to get this. Very athletic play, bare hand flip to Clint Robinson. Pretty good bunt by Ruben Tejada. And the Mets playing for an early run here against Jordan Zimmermann with a sacrifice in the first.
It'll bring in Daniel Murphy, who has the most career at bats and hits against Zimmermann of any Met, not named David Wright. And that's a little bit outside. 17 for 53, 321 career against Jordan is Murphy, and he's hit 3 home runs against the Nats right-hander. Danny Espinosa out on the grass in right field.
You know, I like the sacrifice bunt after a leadoff single on the road. I mean, there's nothing better than being up 1-0 and having the lead before your pitcher takes the mound. You remember Jay Bell with the Pirates?
One of the best bunters ever.
He used to do that every single time. Number 2 hitter, leadoff guy gets on, bunt him over, 1-0 Pirates, and now you're playing uphill.
And a bouncing ball hit pretty sharply. Clint Robinson takes care of that. Things are happening quickly here in the top of the first on getaway day. Nats pitchers, fewest walks in all of baseball. They led everybody by at least 37 of them last year. So there's the speed on the Syndergaard fastball at 97. And Jordan Zimmermann, as he told Dan Coco a few moments ago on Nats Extra, he's trying to nibble less, be aggressive, and pound the strike zone more. Results have been good. Here's Lucas Duda. Strike one with a secondary pitch.
You'll see both pitchers today trying to steal strike one with the curveball.
Lucas Duda, 7 for 32 career with an RBI against Zimmermann. He's had a decent series, 2 for 4. A walk. He's been hit by a pitch, and he skies one straight upstairs. Escobar, the only man on the left side of the infield, takes it near the mound. That's it for the Mets in the top of the first. Jordan keeps doing what Jordan's been doing. In Nats Park, what a day. Folks still coming in. We'll have a big crowd by the time they all arrive for this 12:35 matinee. Yunel Escobar hit him first, hit him second, hit him third, hit him cleanup. He doesn't care. He sits safely 10 of his last 12 games, 354 over that time, 2 for 8 in this series, and he's 4th in the league with a .322 batting mark, and he's also got that big number of hits, 104, 6th most in the league. And here's the 22-year-old rookie, Syndergaard. It's unusual, FP. We've heard so much about him. He's in our division, but they've never seen him before.
Yeah, first time right now. 6'6", 250 pounds, folks. If you haven't seen him before, he squats 455 pounds. He deadlifts 512 pounds, and his fastball explodes out of his hand, 92 to 100 miles an hour. You see opponents hitting 234 against the Mets right-hander. Slider, curveball, change to complement the big fastball.
Michael A. Taylor in a bit of a scuffle right now. And the fastball is in there. Mark Wegner, a little delayed on the call there. Took a good look at it to the inside edge. Michael may have to start doing something with secondary pitches to see some more fastballs. He's 1 for his last 19, and the batting average down to .231, 0 for 8 in this series. That's a sizzler at 98 to the outside edge.
Not only 6'6", 250 pounds, and an imposing figure on the mound. You talk about the downhill tilt on his fastball. You know, that's 98 coming downhill at you. A little bit tougher to hit than, say, a guy 6 foot tall throwing 98, where it's more straight.
And a 1-2 and a good take by Michael A. Taylor. Nats come into the day. Batting average for the team down to .252. They were up around .260 a couple of weeks ago. Feeling the effects of regulars being gone. Hopefully some of them coming back soon. High in the air right field. Tailing foul. And out of the reach of Curtis Granderson.
Good chance a field trip's going to catch foul ball today. There's about 800 buses parked around Nats Park.
It is a colorful crowd. The T-shirts are amazing.
That is not a field trip. That's a Mets D. Neuenheis, Lagares, Granderson the outfield. Tejada Murphy left side. Flores Duda right side. And Kevin Plawecki behind the plate.
2-2 pitch. Taylor to right. Overpowered by that one. And Granderson plays that for the first out. Espinosa and Harper now left-handers the next two. Kind of interesting that we talked about the season series, how similar it is. Each team has an identical record, 24-16 inside the division.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a lot of talk about the season series, but in a lot of talk about this series today, a huge game for Matt Williams, a huge game for Terry Collins. Either a 1-game lead for the Nats or a 3-game lead for the Nats heading into Pittsburgh.
Yeah, another one of those 2 gamers in the division. Here's Espinosa. Danny showed bunt, took it, ball 1.
If he bunts 98 to second base running out of there like that, he might get himself a triple. Down the right field line. But he's been fantastic at bringing the bunt with him to second base this year.
So the question on my mind is, how tough is it to deaden the ball effectively against guys who throw this hard?
Well, when you bring it to second, you really don't want to deaden it. You just want to get it past the pitcher. And with Espinosa's speed and running out of the box at the same time, he's just trying to beat the pitcher to first base and make the first baseman go towards second and field the baseball. So, yeah, to deaden it to third, not easy. But bringing it with you, a little more, I guess, is easier to do with 98.
Yeah. 2-1 now to Danny, who's hit .270 over the last month. And then a foul tip on another bunt attempt. That evens the count, 2-2.
So he's trying to bunt it in this area right here and get Duda to field it and then beat Syndergaard to first base. Or an end around.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, I like your X's and O's there. And on a 2-strike count, fly ball for Kirk Neuenhuis. So Bryce Harper now with 2 outs, bases empty, and Bryce looking for his first base hit in this series.
Back-to-back hitless games for Bryce Harper. The first time since May 4th and May 5th this year.
He's still been on base 3 times in the series with a couple of walks. He was hit on the foot by a pitch last night.
I mean, let that sink in for a second.
I know, it's crazy. Up the middle. It's where they're playing him. Tejada to his left. And that's it for the Nats in a 1-2-3 first inning. We have seen some serious pitching from the starters, both teams, in this series.
Heating up lately, despite the fact that he hasn't had a great feel for his slider. He's mostly been relying on fastball, curveball, but his ERA has really jumped down over the last month, and his walk rate has also really decreased as well. Jordan told me that he thinks the biggest reason for that is that he's gotten his arm slot back up where he wants it. It had dropped down earlier on in the season, and he's been consistently on line to the plate. His mechanics have been locked in lately, and that's led to better results for the right-hander.
Yeah, 5 in a row. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Thanks, Dan, with our Coons.com sideline report. For the Mets, 5, 6, 7, Flores, Neuenhuis, Plawecki, top of the second. And Wilmer Flores has had a good series. He goes up hacking. Out goes Espinosa. In comes Taylor. Michael makes the call. And that's 4 straight now for Jordan Zimmermann on about 7 pitches, actually 8 pitches, since that leadoff single by Granderson on the first offering of the game. Jordan Zimmermann, last 6 starts against the Mets, 5 wins.
I'll play Topper. His last 3 starts against the Mets, he's 3-0 with a 0.47 ERA.
I'll play Topper. He's faced the Mets more than any other team in his career. This is number 22 today.
That does not top 3-0 with 0.47. 1-0 me, I win.
Okay. I was going back.
I mean, nice try, but
evidently history means nothing around
that's
here.
A triple.
And I remember Jordan's years ago, back in 2009 when he went 3-5, his first career win was at Citi Field against the Mets. He made 16 starts that rookie year. Then after the Tommy John surgery, back in the big leagues to stay at the tail end of 2010. Kirk Neuenhuis tried to become the 4th batter to put the ball in play on the first pitch, but he fouled it. Now the count's 1-1. Nice. The breaking ball starting outside. That's the second time he's brought it back to the edge for a strike against a left-hander.
Kind of building on what Dan said, you just kind of saw him get underneath that fastball right there. When he's on top of the fastball, he throws through the target, through Wilson Ramos. That's when the 94 has the late jump, and you see hitters in hitting counts late. When he gets to the side or underneath that fastball, it doesn't have the same pop at the end.
That time he had the left-handed batter trying to pull a pitch away, and the result, as usual, a rollover grounder to second base, 2 outs.
All right, if you have a couch at work, you can tweet your strongest fan photo right now using hashtag NatsCouchCam, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast that's brought to you by T-Mobile.
Here's the Mets catcher, Kevin Plawecki. From Carmel, Indiana. Went to Purdue up in West Lafayette. And he was a first rounder for the Mets, 35th overall player taken just 3 years ago. I haven't had a chance to talk about it much because when he gets in the box, he is on the attack. 1 for 4 last night with a 9th inning base hit.
Mark Wegner's in Tim McClellan land with the strike calls today. I'm going to give him delay of game on the next called strike.
Well, somebody had to take over for Tim McClellan, you know. Taking your time on those strikes. 1-2. Chopper. Ian Desmond on the charge. Able to slow down and get the good hop, and what a good inning for Jordan Zimmerman. So 10 pitches in that inning. That'll bring up the cleanup man who's a leadoff guy, at least next. 104 hits, 6 in the league for Yunel Escobar, who's hit safely 10 of his last 12 games. A line drive. There's a good chance it's on the way, coming up shortly. What a day. Absolutely gorgeous for baseball. Bottom of the second coming up. 4, 5, and 6 for the Nats. Noah Syndergaard, 12 pitches, 8 strikes. First inning. Jeep's got some numbers for us. So first 12 career starts. And the Mets obviously have had great pitching over the years, going back to, of course, Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan, Jerry Koosman, all those great arms. And Syndergaard has busted his way onto a pretty heavy list himself, as well as Jacob deGrom and Harvey. So 3 of their 5 guys on this list, young guys on this staff.
Grew 4 to 5 inches going into his senior year to 6'4". That was about the same time he discovered the weight room. He went from throwing 80 miles an hour his junior year in high school to 90 his senior year with that growth spurt and hitting some weights.
I bet you somebody down in Mansfield, Texas wanted him to be a quarterback. But he went this route, and here he is in the big leagues. That's a strike on the outside edge. His hometown Mansfield, just south of Arlington, Texas, not that far away from where the Rangers play.
Yeah, he just played baseball in high school. That's it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Played soccer as a kid, and his mom had to convince him to play baseball when he was 7 or 8 years old. He didn't want to. I think mom was right.
Escobar hitting .322, fourth in the league. 1 ball, 1 strike. Way inside, as he tried to get his hands out of the way, it sounded like a foul tip, and then the bat just kind of eased out of his hands there.
But on check swings, his wrist bites him, and I'm wondering if that's the problem right now. Anytime he tries to hold up a swing, he's had trouble with that wrist this year. I don't know if it was the ball hitting him or that check swing that's been bugging him all season long. We've seen him try to stop his swing, and it just kind of electrocutes his wrist. He walks it off, and usually he's okay.
Nasty fastball, really just running in on him. Still wearing the big gloves that have a lot of padding on them.
Boy, this group is banged up, isn't it?
This season has been unbelievable.
Trying to move his fingers around, get that feeling back in his wrist.
Nats are already playing with Joe Ross being called up, a man short on the bench with only 3 guys other than Jose Lobaton, the backup catcher. Escobar's got the bat. Now he's got the helmet. He's going to stay. That shows you how tough he is.
All right, here it is. Yeah, it's just a check swing, and it grabs, it bites, and we've seen it about 6 or 7 times this year. Has nothing to do with the baseball. It's when he tries to stop his swing. He's just serious pain. And it's always that left wrist, the lead one that he's been hit on a few times this year.
So Mark Wegner doing a little more housekeeping, sweeping off an already spick and span home plate just to give UNL a few more seconds. He'll tap the bat with his right hand and now get that bottom hand on it.
I'm looking fastball in.
The count's 1-2. Syndergaard gave him a breaking ball.
Oh, he dropped the bat again. He might be done. He's walking right in the dugout.
Yeah. Escobar took one more swing and he's done for the day. So you would think Dan Uggla or maybe Emmanuel Burris, the other infielders. But it was a hard breaking ball and he turned on it, hit it well, but obviously very much hurting himself on those 2 swings. And here comes Dan Uggla. He'll inherit a 1-2 count.
So if Uggla strikes out, it's Escobar's at bat. If he puts it in play, it's his at bat. But Yunel Escobar, the most consistent hitter for the Nats all season long, and one of their best players. And whenever you see a big league player that goes at it every day, that posts every single day, just walk off the field into the dugout, you know that it's not good news for Matt Williams Ball Club. They just can't afford to lose anybody else.
It's unbelievable. So Uggla will probably go to second base, and then Danny Espinosa over to third. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. And that's a slider to the outside edge. 1 out. Syndergaard's first strikeout. I mean, other than Ian Desmond, your starting infield is gone. You know, with injuries. Zimmerman, Rendon, now Escobar.
And 2/3 of your starting outfield, Worth and Span.
It's just unreal.
And 1/5 of your starting rotation.
Glenn Robinson's had a good series. 3 hits, couple of RBIs. That fastball to the outside edge at 97. He'll pull it, and that's into the outfield for Wilmer Flores, playing out there on the shift. 2 outs. Next up, Wilson Ramos. Go-ahead home run last night, his second time up in the 5th inning. Opposite field shot.
You see that we're going with Wilson Ramos today. Maybe try that fastball in. Really the only mistake that Jacob deGrom made last night, if it was one.
Ramos gets a slider, hits it pretty well. Out to deep left center. Over to cut it off is Lagares, who is playing on the opposite side toward the right center gap. And Wilson Ramos now in the series 2 for 4.
A nice piece of hitting right there. Stayed back. Looked like a slider up a little bit above the belt. Left center field. You're wondering, was this going to get past Juan Lagares for a 2-out double? Good play by Lagares, holding Wilson Ramos to a single. And there goes a no-hitter.
Here's Ian Desmond in the number 7 spot. And the fastball inside. Desmond and Espinoza with Clint Robinson all have 3 hits in this series. '81, and he couldn't get it. 1-1.
Pretty good numbers against the Mets career.
Yeah, Ian's getting to that point in his career where he's playing 100 games or more against certain opponents in the division. He was 0 for 16 before warming up with the 3 for 7 in this series.
1 homer for 100.
Young pitcher moving guys off the plate with that heater. Just 22 years of age. Ian Desmond with a good at bat. So 2 on 2 out for the left-hander coming in, Matt Dendecker.
You see Daniel Murphy going to the mound right now. Wiki out there to talk to his big right-hander. I don't know if they're going over what signs and sequences they're using at second base, or maybe just trying to calm him down after the walk. Maybe both.
His 16th walk of the year. He has struck out 79 in just over 75 innings. Pitcher on deck. Classic National League situation, how you want to approach the number 8 guy. Early in the game, though, no score. And Dendecker wants to get this thing in play. And I might add, a better than average hitting pitcher is on deck. Matt has 6 hits, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs. Playing in his 22nd ball game.
Is he that interested in Den Decker right now? And does he have enough confidence to throw strikes with a bases loaded 2-out situation to Jordan Zimmerman? See if he challenges Den Decker here behind 2-0. He's got an open base. Open base is third. Yeah, 2-0 changeup. He's pitching around him all the way. They want to pitch to Jordan Zimmerman. Let's see if Den Decker has a green light here. 3-0.
I'd say why not if you see something right down the middle.
Right.
I mean, this is a number 8 hitter that's got some pop. 4 straight bases loaded. Jordan Zimmerman will get a shot to get himself and his ball club on top.
For every Nationals walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support Girls on the Run DC. The Nats have drawn 279 walks for a total of $13,950. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. I recall in Atlanta earlier this year, Jordan Zimmerman had a bases clearing single with the bases loaded 2 outs, April 29th against the Braves in Atlanta. His only 3 RBI of the year on 1 swing.
Dan Worthen kind of animated during that conversation. Looked like a lot of motivation was going on. The entire infield was joining Syndergaard and Plawecki on the mound there. So Jordan overall 4 hits on the year. He has 15 career RBIs. Granderson shallow, ready to charge in right in case Jordan would get an offside the other way kind of base hit against a hard throwing right-hander. Desmond behind Ramos and ahead of Den Decker here. Ian getting a really good lead at second. And a good eye by Jordan Zimmerman. Count even 1-1. How about that? 2 hits and 6 RBIs. Career with the bases loaded.
Pretty good rip.
It was. Fastball jammed him, knocked down by Syndergaard. Plenty of time. And he gets the batter at first base. The Nats leave 3, but they made the Mets pitcher work through a long second inning.
Wednesday, August 5th, the Nats take on the Diamondbacks, 7:05 start. That's secondary to the Jason Worth Chia Pet giveaway. First 20,000 fans will get that when you come through the gates. Check out hashtag Worth Chia. Follow the Nationals on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Get a sneak peek of the Chia stages. Visit nationals.com to purchase your tickets today.
Okay.
I want one of those, but I just can't keep anything alive. So I feel like if I had a Chia Pet, it would die within a day. It would be a brown Chia Pet.
Well, let's talk about some guys who are alive and well, including Jason Worth. PNC Bank with our minor league report for the Achiever and You. Trey Turner had a really good night last evening, and Jason Worth was right there with him. Had a slow start with Syracuse, batting .393 lately. So Espinosa to third, Dan Uggla to second base. By the way, Jason Worth batting behind Turner last night. Went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a steal in his second rehab game with the Chiefs.
He's ready, call him up. Jason Worth.
And after the game, Turner said he's a great guy. Syndergaard, he can swing it, 5 for 23. A solo homer this year. And a big breaking ball strikes him out. Jordan Zimmermann now 7 straight since that Granderson leadoff hit.
Time for a Toyota K's for Kids. Washington area Toyota dealers want to help children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by Nats pitcher this season.
Boy, Jordan Zimmerman's in some kind of rhythm with Wilson Ramos right now.
It's one of those curveball slider days where they're both working, and that's heads up for the opponent.
1-1 to Juan Lagares, and he can't reach that 86 that ended up way off of his bat.
When he's got fastball or one of his secondary pitches, it's a rough go for anybody. But when he's got fastball, curveball, change going, all three in the strike zone whenever he wants, look out.
Goes with the heater on the inside edge, and Juan Lagares doesn't like the call. Mark Wegner punching him out. Mercedes-Benz will give us a look.
Slider for a strike, slider for a ball, fastball in for a strike. Pretty good frame job by Wilson Ramos, sliding it right to the corner to get the call.
Here's Curtis Granderson, who has the Mets' only hit. It happened on the first pitch of the game.
Well, you had a feeling Jordan would be strong here today after 63 pitches. That was the game against the Dodgers where the lights went out 3 times. Had to shut him down after just 63 pitches in 4 innings.
Granderson with another good swing and well foul.
And Curtis Granderson in the first pitch of the game broke up the no-hitter. Only got a reach so far for the Mets.
Right in there, a beauty with 79 on the curveball. Now the lights kept going out, and Jordan Zimmermann finally couldn't answer the bell. Too many delays. It took too much time.
What would you know about that game?
Watched it intermittently, just like you did.
Oh, I will give you heat for the rest of our time working together for not being here for that game. You were smarter than all of us for taking the vacation.
2-2. So a count full here as Granderson pops one left field. Long way to go for Dendecker and for Espinosa. And the ball falls where neither could reach.
Danny lost that in the sun. Did you see him put his hands out to his side? He was running for it. It got right up in the sun. Didn't know. And actually did a nice job of letting Matt Dendecker know that he couldn't see it. It's hard to do when you're on the run. Watch right about here. I don't know. Where is it? It's in the sun. Can't see it. And then he picks it up once it gets out of the sun.
Anderson pulls one to right with authority, but Bryce Harper over to grab it, and Jordan Zimmerman is cruising now against the Mets. Top of the order for the Nationals. No score, middle of the third. Having a great time at the ballpark today. Do I see a Pittsburgh ball cap there? It's where the Nats are heading tomorrow, but mostly red and mostly curly W's in the house. Next 5, and for those in the Berg, Pfister, Liriano tomorrow, Scherzer, Jeff Lux on Friday, Gio, A.J. Burnett Saturday, Joe Ross, Garrett Cole, who's 13-4 on Sunday. Off day Monday, the Nats will play 3 in Miami, 3 in New York against the Mets on this long upcoming road trip.
If all your campers are dressed in fluorescent to kind of separate themselves, how are they separating themselves? There's all kinds of fluorescent campers here today.
Nice. Well, it's a safety issue, you know, when you're out in the woods.
Yeah, but last time I checked, we're not in the woods.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, camp, ballpark, they've probably been to the woods already. Just don't go to the wood shed. I tell you, some of these pitchers are taking hitters to the wood shed in this series. This has been rough. Taylor fly ball to right first time, trying to bust out of a 1 for 20.
A lot of guys go 1 for 20 against Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, Matt Harvey, Jacob deGrom, and Noah Syndergaard. He's not struggling. He's just facing tough pitching, just like everybody else for the Nationals right now. And it's a big leagues. That's how it goes. But you face pitchers like that back to back to back. 1 for 20 is not that uncommon.
Second strikeout for Noah Syndergaard.
80s night at the ballpark, August 29th. Leg warmers, neon. What else? I don't know.
The cute
Motley Crue t-shirt, some Quiet Riot. Nats take on the Miami Marlins. You could be Crockett and Tubbs. You get the Rubik's Cube and you walk in. And still haven't solved that thing. For details and to purchase these special ticket, visit nationals.com/80s. It's kind of feeling the vibe right there a little bit.
The old Bullets of the NBA. With Charlie Slows as their play-by-play guy. That is old school. Danny Espinosa fly ball to left first time. Look up, it's 1-2, 0-2. The way these guys are operating. That's made him work long. 23 pitch, second inning. And the 0-2. Wow. Breaking ball diving down and in on Danny Espinosa. 2 Ks in a row, 3 in the game. On base percentage plus slugging for guys 22 or younger, going way back to the turn of the previous century. And Ted Williams, the only higher.
Do you think Ted Williams, Jimmy Fox, Joe DiMaggio, Mel Ott knew what OPS was?
No. They were just up see ball, hit ball.
You could just put no numbers next to Bryce Harper with all the names that he's with, and it would still be impressive. It doesn't even matter what the category is. Every time we put him up there, it's with the greats in the history of the game.
Yeah. Most of them are in Cooperstown.
I read Ted Williams' book, The Art of a High OPS. It was a good one.
One pitch, and that's well outside. You know, and some people don't even know exactly what slugging percentage is. It's a measure that pretty much deals with the power of a hitter. Then the at-bats come into play there, and how many extra bases you produce, and that's how slugging is tabulated. So it's total bases divided by at-bats.
In the O.
And then you add that to the batting average, and that's the OPS.
On base percentage.
On base percentage plus slugging. So some of the numbers can get over 1,000, which really statistically is supposed to be impossible. Tough play, and then no play for Wilmer Flores. That ball had some hook on it. And you would think Bryce would get a base hit for that. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a base hit all the way. Hit it hard, little top spin. Not a routine play by any means. Did a nice job of going down and getting that one. And you see, he thought he caught it, stopped, had to start again. Thought he was going to catch it in the air, I believe. So Bryce Harper checks in with his first knock of the series.
On base for the 4th time in these 3 games. And here's Dan Uggla, who gets his first full at bat after inheriting a 1-2 count after Escobar was hit on the, not exactly hit on the wrist, but hurt his wrist on a check swing.
Bryce hasn't gone hitless in 3 games since last August. So scratch that.
Yeah. So that's getting real close to being a full calendar year. Amazing. Uggla able to stop. On the appeal, down to Marty Foster at first. Dan with a homer, 13 RBIs on the year.
I mean, the Nats season slowly turning into a version of the Hunger Games. Last man standing with all the injuries. Escobar today. I mean, every team has injuries, and in my experiences, I've never seen one decimated like the Nats have been so far this year.
Yeah, not to frontline players.
All of them, basically.
Uggla did swing at that. Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire, with that strike call, 2-1. And he gets under that one. He hits it a mile high to the left side. Having trouble finding it, Murphy. He has no idea. And then his catcher, Plawecki, couldn't get there. The sun this time of the year, right behind home plate this time of the day, and Daniel Murphy couldn't see it.
I think it's right over the Nats on deck circle. When you look at the shadows, Danny Espinosa had trouble going for that ball down the line. And I don't care if you put on eye black, flip downs, Oakleys, Ray-Bans, you name the brand. When it's in the sun, there ain't nothing you can do about it, folks. Nothing.
And Plawecki couldn't find it either. Now the count goes to 3-2. The Nats get the added bonus of Bryce Harper being able to run on a full count pitch with 2 outs.
He could have lost it all in the Campers neon shirts too. It's always a possibility there.
Harper on the move. Ugla takes ball 4, 2 on.
Good at bats.
And that's 3 walks now in the last 2 innings for Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah, look at the sun right in his eyes. And it looks like he has the old school flip downs.
He does.
With eye black. And that just ain't going to help you. The worst part about that, too, is even with the flip down, it's a great shot of the sun, guys. That's the angle that it's creating right now. Is when you go for a ball like that, you can't see for about a pitch, maybe 2. You're still seeing purple and stars and praying they don't hit you a ground ball because you're blind.
Big spot for Clint Robinson. And the good thing about this situation against Clint is because of the 2 runners on board, they can't quite give the coverage to the right side of the infield like they usually do on the shift. Now after 1 pitch, though, Tejada will move to the right field side of second base right behind Bryce Harper and the umpire. We've seen Clint go to left center a number of times for some hits. That's outside, 2-0. .98, low in the strike zone, 2-1. Robinson will pull this one to the right side for Lucas Duda. Nationals have left 5 runners in the last 2 innings, and now to the 4th in a scoreless rubber game.
Public school teachers. You guys can receive up to 30% off Nationals tickets when verified through GovX. You also get $10 credit to be used for food, beverage, and merchandise inside a Nats Park to be verified and purchase these discounted tickets. Go to nationals.com/GovX.
Our Warriors waving their caps to the crowd and being applauded in return. A wonderful daily tradition here at Nationals Park. Bryce all's in, Ian Desmond. Every day, all the other guys honoring our troops. Jordan did as well, and now he's back to work. 11 pitches per inning, 33 total, 23 strikes in 3 innings. He's retired 9 straight since the Granderson hit on the first pitch, first inning. Ruben Tejada stepping in, then sacrificed Granderson to second on the first pitch. But Jordan's been untouchable since.
And he's thrown all of his pitches for strikes, working quick, attacking the strike zone. Slider curveball combination have been deadly so far for Jordan Zimmermann. There's a slider. He's just putting it wherever he wants.
Wow. 93.
Let's watch Wilson Ramos's glove not move, because it hasn't moved in a few innings. Unless Jordan Zimmermann wants to throw a ball, he's been hitting every single spot.
How to play right side. You know, you talked about that lineup of great pitching, how it affects hitters. Evidently, it affects managers, too. Remember you and I were wondering last night, why was Jeurys Familia throwing in a 5-run game? Terry Collins said after the game, we're facing Zimmermann, Kershaw, and Greinke the next 3 games. I wanted to get him some work. And the New York writers and broadcasters like all looking at each other. Did he really say that?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's hard not to think that when you're facing pitchers like this. And, of course, Jordan Zimmermann, you know, joins the line in a bunch of talented guys like that. Gives up a hit to Tejada there. First base hit for the Mets since the first inning. But I'm not sure if you're in the clubhouse, you want to hear that from your skipper. But they love Terry Collins, though, he says what's on his mind. Doesn't always filter it a whole lot. And he's a true baseball guy who calls it like it is. Now it's up to his guys to go out and prove they can hit Zimmermann, Kershaw, and Greinke as the Dodgers head to New York after they finish up in Atlanta. And that ball slapped into right field by Daniel Murphy. 2 consecutive hits here in the 4th inning. Another left-handed batter here, Lucas Duda.
Simple approach. Head on the baseball, throw the bat, nice swing. Rolling the wrists, using the hole.
High and tight to the left-handed hitting Duda, who popped up in the first inning. And a ball caught by Yunel Escobar, who since has left the game.
That might have been a changeup from Jordan Zimmermann to Daniel Murphy, a pitch that he doesn't throw ever.
I thought on the first look that it was fading down and away.
It was 86.
It was not a fastball.
And it wasn't spinning like a slider. And he's probably thrown about 4 all year, if that. Here's the Expo. This will show, well, I didn't see the release point, but looked like a changeup.
Yeah. One ball, one strike. On a swing and a foul tip. The count goes to 1-2. Lucas Duda, if you can get a ground ball, a definite double play guy. He's bounced into 9 of them this year. He can also drive the ball. He's one of the league leaders in doubles with 23. 7th in the National League. 1-2 pitch, had him locked up, and that's a strike. Mike Malinsky with the punch out, third base way. Hitter glaring at him, and a big first out for Jordan Zimmerman.
Still giving him the eye. And Malinsky telling Duda to go to the bench. Doesn't like him looking at him. Didn't say a word. He just looked at him. And he didn't think he went. And maybe a good look from the side. Hard to tell right there. There's a slider from Jordan Zimmerman. And always in slow-mo looks like they went. But that is really close. And Lucas Duda got... You kind of see why he was upset, right?
Yeah, his hands were out in front of that bat. Here's Wilmer Flores, who hit a fly ball to Michael A. Taylor first time up. I don't think Lucas Duda will be happy when he goes up into the clubhouse and sees that.
I think the key on those is a quick appeal. If you're a catcher and you ask quickly and you don't give the umpire time to think, sometimes they just go, yeah. If you wait a little bit, it gives the first base umpire or the third base umpire in a check swing time to kind of really process it. But if you can point real quick as a catcher and don't give them that time, sometimes you get the call.
0-2, and that's well outside.
You can almost just shock them into calling it a strike if you appeal it quickly.
'86 with the slide piece, a little bit outside. The Mets have hit into a ton of double plays this year, 93 of them. Jordan's close, but it's 3-2.
It makes sense. They don't have a lot of team speed. He hit a ball on the ground. It's a double play.
Yeah.
That's why you've seen Terry Collins try hit and run. A bunch of different things offensively in this series. But you just look at their lineup today. They don't have any burners.
Tejada sent back to the bag with that move. Murphy 90 feet behind him. And the 3-2 jams him. Flores able to fight it off. Started this inning with 33 pitches. He's at 50. With the runners on the move with one out. Fly ball out to left center for Matt Dendecker. Terry Collins thought that Flores would make contact, trying to make something happen there. And now with 2 outs, it'll be Zimmerman against Neuenhuis.
No, trying to stay out of the double play, maybe trying to get some infielders moving around to create some holes. And Wilmer Flores frustrated. But he hit the ball in the air and missed his pitch.
Yeah, that slider got a lot of the plate, but he had to reach down to get it. So keeping the ball down pays off for Jordan Zimmerman there. He gets Neuenhuis, who bounced out first time up, to Danny Espinosa, who was then playing second base. Dan Uggla's over there now, a couple of steps onto the outfield grass. Couldn't get the breaking ball to come around for a strike that time.
Just in and out with the fastball. He's kept it down for the most part. Throwing curveballs and sliders for strikes and hitters counts. And then throwing curveballs and sliders for balls in pitchers counts.
Neuenhuis for the Mets. 39th game, hitting a .164, but 3 home runs. Had 22 at bats in 10 games with the Angels before they let him go. And he drives one to left center, and there's nobody playing where he hit that one. It'll put the Mets up by a couple. Big hit by Neuenhuis, and it's 2-0. The Nats had Matt Dendecker shaded over toward the left field line.
Oh, nice piece of hitting by Kirk Neuenhuis. 2-1 count. Jordan Zimmerman goes with a curveball, and watch him let it travel, stay back. He was fooled a little bit, but he had his foot down early, kept his hands back, and used the whole field. So Zimmerman tried to trick him in a fastball count with the curveball, and it wasn't that bad a pitch. Just a nice piece of hitting by Kirk Neuenhuis.
Number 7 hitter Kevin Plawecki, the catcher. Jordan Zimmerman looking into the dugout. Matt Williams looking back toward the phone, and he wants to come out and discuss something with
Did
Mark
Neuenhuis
Wagner.
miss first base? I thought I might have saw that on the replay. No, it looks like he hit it. But that's not a challenge. You just appeal.
Yeah,
You just get on the mound,
pitcher
step
goes
off
to the mound
and throw over to first. But he's got to get on the mound first.
Yeah.
Then he steps off, and they're going to appeal first. But I think he hit it. Just kind of taking a sneak peek in the ISO monitor here.
Leonard did touch first base.
Here it is.
Looked like he got the corner of the bag with no problem.
He's got those white camouflage cleats. Probably look like he missed the base. Maybe that's what Billy Beane's been up to all these years.
With the white shoes?
And the A's with the clown shoes. That
you get a call in once every couple years on that?
It's weird, man. All of a sudden you look down in your old career, you're wearing black cleats or blue cleats, and you look down, you're wearing white cleats. It trips you out for a little bit. It's different.
Busted bat, and that is going to drive in a run. Around third, Neuenhuis. Ball bobbled by Michael A. Taylor. No further advancement by the RBI man, Plawecki, who makes it 3-0. Four hits in the inning for New York. Steve McCaddy to the mound.
Yeah, leadoff single by Tejada, a base hit by Murphy, a strikeout of Duda, a fly out to left by Wilmer Flores, and you're thinking, all right, Jordan Zimmerman's going to get out of this jam, but the 2-1 curveball and the gap for a double, and then the blooper up the middle by Plawecki. It's a 3-0 game.
Here's the pitcher, Syndergaard, who Zimmerman struck out first time. Starts him off with a curveball for a strike. Overpowers him for a fly ball to center. Taylor coming in, grabs it. But the Mets do a big crooked number on the board in the 4th inning. Wilson Ramos will lead off, and it's now New York by 3.
At Nationals Park as we go bottom 4. The Nationals have faced 2 flamethrowers the past 2 days, Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom, but the guy they're facing today actually throws harder. Noah Syndergaard has the highest average fastball velocity of any pitcher with at least 10 starts this season. Average fastball at 96.9 miles per hour. Matt Williams said the key is to gear down when you're facing that type of velocity, not try and gear up. Now, typically, the harder you swing at high velocity, the worse the results are. You want to stay short, you want to stay quick to the ball. And the good news for the Nationals is that they're already used to the high heat in facing the last 2 Mets starters. But they're really going to have to try and battle Syndergaard's high velocity as they try and get back into this ball game, guys.
Yeah, not easy to do. Thank you, Dan. Nats have 2 hits on the day. Ramos 2-out single, 2nd inning. He leads off here. Bryce Harper 2-out single, 3rd inning. And he's been able to pitch around 3 walks by getting some key outs. Ramos, Desmond, Dendecker, 6-7-8 for the Nats in a 3-0 game now.
That's so easy to say and so hard to do.
Yeah.
When a guy throws 98, to not swing hard at it, let him supply the power. I mean, your instinct as a hitter is to go out and get it and swing harder. You got to gear up. But Matt Williams, who is a great hitter himself with good advice, but sometimes that's not that easy when a guy's throwing 100.
He gets the outside edge after not getting the call on the other side. So it's 1-1. Ramos in the series, 2 for 4, homer last night. 2 RBIs, 40 on the year. And the breaking ball had him all locked up there on 82, strike 2.
And when you talk about all the pitchers today, it seems like these guys see 98, 99 every single night, whether it's starters, relievers, left-handers, right-handers, it doesn't matter. And I don't know if guys are throwing harder today or the speed guns are just more accurate than they were back in the day. More precise technology showing you these speeds. Because I find it hard to believe in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that guys didn't throw this hard. You know, you went from a guy in a banana hat in Dodger Stadium holding a radar gun to all kinds of different technology nowadays. And I think the readings are more accurate. Unless, of course, I'm driving. Then the police officer is totally wrong and it was a false reading.
I'm afraid that technology is way ahead of all of us.
That technology is still archaic and it's totally wrong.
Mike Brito, the guy you're talking about,
yes.
right? Out of Dodger Stadium all those years. Wilson Ramos driving one to right center. They know that's his pattern for fly balls. So right there is Lagares to grab it, first out. Geico President's Race. And I don't know what's going to happen a year from November, but this was no contest a few moments ago. He kept waiting for Calvin to slip up somewhere. And number 30 just breezing home. Wow.
Calvin's starting to grow on me. I like him. He still needs some just for presidents in the side part there. Tighten it up a little bit with the gray, but I'm liking him. I like this celebrity president. I think they should do it every year. The guest president. Okay, they're all celebrities.
I have a feeling that maybe after that race, a little confab took place down in the tunnel, and the newest guy was told not to embarrass the other 5 like that ever again.
Yeah, he showed everybody up today. He got a good night's sleep. The rest of the presidents party until 2 in the morning.
I mean, that was his version of flipping the bat. 1-1 pitch. Ian Desmond thought he was all over a breaking ball at 80, and the count's 1-2. Desmond walking first time. Mets go home to play the Dodgers. Cologne and Kershaw tomorrow. Slider away. Dodgers, by the way, trying to avoid a sweep, leading 3-1 6th inning at Atlanta.
Good take. That was a strike for a while. Ian Desmond saw it early out of the hand of Noah Syndergaard. Spin on it. Up by 3. You're thinking 3-2 fastball all the way right here for Ian Desmond. Mercedes showing you the total at bat.
Fastball down, base hit, straightaway center. And Ian Desmond has at least one hit in every game of this series. He's now been on base 5 times.
And 4 for 8 this series. Good at bat, got it to a 3-2 count, seeing more pitches, and that's how you think as a hitter. With a 3-run lead, I'm all in on the fastball. 1-0 game, you're not real sure. Might go with the slider there. A little top spin off the dirt in front of the plate. Shot it up the middle. Nice at bat.
His teammates like it. Tyler Moore, Clint Robinson back there applauding. So well done, Ian Desmond. On base 5 times with a walk and 4 hits. One of those a homer, 2 RBIs. Dendecker walked his first time up today.
Syndergaard very deliberate to the plate. You can run on him. Even though you're down by 3 runs right here, a guy like Ian Desmond has a chance to walk into second with a good jump.
He's going. Pitch outside. Quite a throw. Desmond got in behind it. Plawecki made up some of that distance at the end. And Ian Desmond, who's running more these days, swipes his 6th of the year.
Yeah, down by 3 doesn't mean you totally shut down the running game, especially if it's there with Noah Syndergaard at 1.5, 1.6 to the plate. And maybe the one real weak spot of his game. And Ian Desmond steals it easily. It was just a matter of if he could stay on the bag or not with the tag being applied.
Yeah, Ruben Tejada took that throw out in front of the bag. Desmond in behind him. Dendecker could put the Nats on the board with a single here. The count's 2-0. Way outside. And Jordan Zimmerman might get a chance to move a couple of runners or drive a couple of runners here in a moment. He's walked the number 8 hitter twice. 4 free passes in the game so far from the Mets rookie. Here comes Dan Warthen, the pitching coach, for another visit.
This is a settle down the 22-year-old trip. See, he has Thor written on his glove right there. That's his nickname.
You can see that.
There it is. His Nordic name, Syndergaard, long blonde hair. Thor makes sense. He's also had gloves that say Lion on it. Drago from Rocky IV. And Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. So he's got all kinds of gloves, but he's going with Thor now.
Okay.
And I think it fits. I like Drago myself.
Well, he was a villain.
They just walk out on the mound, look at the hitter, and say, I must break you.
Jordan Zimmerman hit kind of a medium speed line drive back to Syndergaard first time up. He knocked it down and threw out Jordan with the bases loaded 2 innings ago. Looking to move 2 runners ahead here. Pulls the bat back. It's a called strike at 95. So today Thor's hammer is the fastball. We've seen it at 98.
I'm watching Daniel Murphy at third base, and he's staying home. And the reason he's not crashing is because Jordan Zimmerman has been known to pull the bat back and slash. You see Murphy putting on a bunt defense in the background there. You'd think the Mets will play this straight up just because Jordan Zimmerman can handle the bat, not put on any trick plays, rotation plays, or anything.
Strike two.
They did put on a play. I don't know if you saw Ruben Tejada sneaking in behind Ian Desmond, and that's just kind of a decoy to get the third base coach to yell back. And if the third base coach bites on it, it's up to Bob Henley to know that's a decoy and not yell back on that, actually.
Then you're giving up ground, right? Trying to get to third.
Yeah, they're trying to get Ian Desmond to go back, and Jordan Zimmerman can't get the bunt down.
Strikeout number 4 for Syndergaard. And it'll be up to Michael A. Taylor now with 2 outs. Trying to get his first hit in the series, 0 for 10.
So important in big baseball games and big series. It's important throughout the course of the season to do all the little things the majority of the time. But in the big games against the good pitchers, that's when you really got to get bunts down. You really got to advance on balls in the dirt.
Taylor hits one beyond short. Desmond around third. Neuenhuis throw cut off. And the runners end up at first and third as Michael A. Taylor gets the Nats on the board with a big 2-out hit.
Clutch. A really short, compact swing right there. Ruben Tejada dives for it on the off-speed pitch, can't get to it. And Ian Desmond scores easily from second base to make this a 2-run game. I thought Tejada was going to snag that. Took a little tricky hop there at the end. Good read by Dendecker, seeing Daniel Murphy as a cutoff man, knowing that Tejada dove for the ball, couldn't get to third base. So Dendecker gets to third, and now you're wondering if Michael Taylor, with that long delivery from Syndergaard, is going to try to get into scoring position here with 2 outs for Espinosa.
Yeah, you know, that steal that you basically predicted by Desmond really kind of changed this inning. And Syndergaard with a runner in scoring position walked the number 8 guy. Even though he got Zimmerman, Taylor got the hit.
And Syndergaard's allowed 9 stolen bases in 10 attempts this year. So Michael Taylor representing the tie and run. You'd think sometime in this sequence is going to go.
Danny Espinosa 0 for 2. It's a fastball to the outside edge. Tries to go out there again, misses, and the count's even. Top of the hour here. Ball game started at 12:36 today. An hour and 24 minutes later, we're in a long sequence of this ball game. Middle innings taking a while here. Mets lead 3-1. Nationals a chance to get another run back right here or more. Espinosa up the middle. That ball skips on Tejada, who throws him out from center field. Nats have a lot of hitters who go up the middle, and the Mets have been stealing some hits right through there in this series.
How about a Cox game summary? Cox delivering life's most important connections. 3-1 Mets as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Noah Syndergaard, 4 walks, 81 pitches, so pitch count up there for the Mets right-hander. Ian Desmond having a nice series against the Mets. 4 for 8, a walk, a couple of runs scored, a 2-run home run this series. But let's go back to the Mets' 4th inning where they scored 3 runs. The 2-out double by Kurt Neuenhuis on a 2-1 curveball that drove in a pair. And then Kevin Plawecki with a base hit up the middle. That scored Neuenhuis. And there's the 3 runs for the Mets today, in case you're just joining us. Nats answered with 1 the bottom of the 4th, 3-1. That's where we stand.
So to the top of the 5th inning.
That's a
number 9 hitter Juan Lagares leads off.
The big Nats fan right there.
Mystery popular place right now. That's up in the zone, a strike. So Zimmerman pumping strikes today. The ratio is outstanding. And the fastball moves the hitter back on 0-2. Juan Lagares in the series 3 for 9. He's had a short 3-game hitting streak going with 5 hits. He's going to make it 4 games on 6 hits.
Stat of the day, the Mets are 23-8 in day games this year. 23-8.
Good on short rest. And maybe their pitching has something to do with that. Guys whose heaters and other stuff not easy to see during the daytime. The Mets ERA, we noted this Monday night when the series started, is the 3rd best in the National League. Came in at 3.25. The Pirates are 2nd, 2.96. St. Louis 1st, 2.68. And a strike to Curtis Granderson, who's pulled the ball twice. A base hit to right 1st inning, fly ball to right to end the 3rd. Ramos sets up away. And Jordan not getting that breaking ball to come back like he was earlier. Kind of interesting. 2nd time around, a struggle for him, but then he really gathers himself big time. FP, on a day when a pitcher has his secondary pitches working, as you noted earlier, can there be a tendency to throw too many of them? As maybe, you usually go with your fastball, a couple of the secondary pitches here and there. Because Jordan's been hurt on some curveballs and some sliders here. I'm not second guessing him and Ramos, but just wondering when the other pitchers are working, can you get away from your fastball a little bit?
You can, and Jordan Zimmerman has thrown a lower percentage of fastballs this year than he did last year. This year he's thrown the fastball 64% of the time. And last year he threw it 70%, so 6% down from last year. And the increase is in his curveball. He's thrown it 15% of the time this year and only 8% last year, so that's the difference. But his curveball's been good. And to your point, Carp, I think he just gets in trouble on occasion when he just throws too many strikes. And the evolution of Jordan Zimmerman from a really good pitcher to one of the elite pitchers has been his ability to learn how to expand the strike zone and actually throw balls.
When you say that, you mean hittable strikes.
Yes.
Center cut too much here and there.
And that 2-1 pitch to Neuenhuis was a good idea with the curveball. I don't think he wanted to throw it for a strike, though. Neuenhuis was in swing mode 2-1, and maybe he's thinking about making it look like a strike.
Right.
And that's what we've seen, or at least I've seen, with Kershaw, Greinke, and the pitchers that have run through on this homestand, is the ability to get ahead with the strike, and then the ability to make pitches look like a strike late that break out of the zone.
Yeah, and nobody's better than that than number 31 in our dugout.
Yes.
0-2 with 1 out. Time given. Ruben Tejada sacrifice, a base hit, a run. He's 3 for 10 in this series.
And all that said, with all the pitchers we're talking about, there's not a lot of time to think about it. These are all mid to upper 90s guys. So as a hitter, the whole thought process is sped up. The game is sped up. And you don't have a whole lot of time to think about things.
And Jordan Zimmermann whips one right by Ruben Tejada for the second out here in the 5th inning, his 4th strikeout of the day. That'll bring in Daniel Murphy. Nissan will check it.
Cut fastball here at 93. See that going away from Tejada at the very end. Moving, just subtle.
It's fascinating to me how you throw that pitch, but it doesn't react away until it almost gets to the hitter.
It's just more pressure on your middle finger than your index finger on release. And that just little bit of pressure with all the arm speed you're creating and getting that whip out in front. Just kind of scoots it to the outside half of the plate right at the end.
Murphy on a pitch up and in, hacking. 1 ball, 1 strike. (3-1) Mets. They've out-hit the Nats 6-4. In the previous 2 games of the series, they out-hit Washington 19-12. Kind of weird, they had more hits than the Nationals Monday night when Washington won 7-2. They returned to 7-2 favor last night. That ball was off the first baseman's mitt of Clint Robinson. Harper strong throw to third, but with 2 outs, Lagares gets there. That ball moving quickly, and Clint Robinson couldn't pick it off.
A nice piece hitting again by Daniel Murphy, going down to a knee. Did you see that? Kind of sitting in the batter's box for a second. And Bryce Harper with a good throw to third base, but the speed of Lagares beats it.
There's Lucas Duda again with a couple of guys on base.
What are we waiting for here?
Only thing I could think of is, did the runner come off the bag at third?
On the tag, and they're going to look at it. And that's, I was thinking that when Harper threw it, that in today's game, even if you think a guy's safe, if he's going to slide, throw it to the base, because if you keep a tag on a guy and he pops up in his slide, you never know.
Cameras will find it.
And this is part of the game I don't like, and this is part of replay I don't like. The one that nobody in the world saw, but it's almost like the knee down before you fumble that nobody sees until you go to replay.
So Bryce made a strong 1-hop throw.
What do we got? Show it to me.
Came off the bag right there. Was the glove on him?
I mean, the Nats will take it, don't get me wrong, but this is the whole knee down before the ball came loose thing right here. And is there enough evidence for the crew that we don't know who they are in New York to overturn the call? The anonymous 8 guys in New York watching right now.
At least we've been told they're in New York.
You know my theory. I think it should be full disclosure. Pull back the curtain. I want to know who the crew is up in New York.
So right now, 2 on, 2 out. It's taking a while. Jordan Zimmermann will start throwing some keep warm tosses.
There's another look. So you just throw it in. Good job by Danny Espinosa keeping the tag on just in case.
This might be the angle.
But was his right foot off the bag, or was it still on the side of it. I don't know if that's enough to overturn, but I'm about 1 for 80 this year on these.
Mike Winters, the crew chief, on your left. The call was made by Mike Malinsky, the rookie umpire, on your right. And this is longer than a New York minute.
This is too long, and this is why I'm beginning to hate replay. I don't know. Sorry. It's taken all the emotion out of the game. There's no more arguments. Guys are raising their hand and asking questions now when they think they're safe. Managers aren't roaring out. I mean, there's so many great parts of the game that we're missing because of this. Great plays that are overturned that aren't great plays that we just didn't see because the call was changed. I mean,
what do you think
it's
about?
It's just gotten worse, not better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and maybe what you do now is, if you can't decide in 2 minutes, the play stands. I mean, this is going on 4 to 5 minutes now.
I know that. Hey, get it right. I'm not dumb. I get it. I'm an emotional Italian man, and I miss the emotional part of the game. I miss arguments. I miss guys popping up off a bag and getting into an umpire's face. I miss arguments with managers and umpires that you don't see anymore. You just see the manager come to the top step and put his hand up.
I don't know if it's a fine for the organist to start playing the Jeopardy theme here, but here come the headsets, and after all that, the runner is still safe. So the Nats are 5 of 11 this year on challenges. It'll be Jordan Zimmerman and Lucas Duda with runners at the corners and 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. .358 officially on the review, but from the time the runner arrived at third base and
till this pitch is thrown,
probably well over 5 minutes. Can't be good for a pitcher. And then the hitter, knowing that he might pump a first pitch fastball in there, he's pumping himself. Upper deck, way foul.
Hit a camper. Campers better bring their gloves. That's all I'm saying.
93 crackling up and away from the left-handed batter, and the count's 0-2. There's no doubt that even after a play like that, there's a definite lull that hangs for a while.
Baseball's a game of rhythm. You get a flow going to a ball game, and all of a sudden, hit the brakes, throw the anchor out. We're bottom fishing for 5 minutes.
And a breaking ball hit right in front of the plate. Wilson Ramos takes care of that. And the Mets are gone in the 5th. They've stranded 4. The Nats have left 7. Bryce Harper about to lead off. Now that was a long first half of a ball game. We're going bottom 5. Harper, Ugla, and Robinson. 3-4-5 for the Nats. Noah Syndergaard doesn't figure to be around much longer than another inning or so. He's at 81 pitches through 4. Bryce Harper, base hit. Right field last time. They're not playing a big shift this time with him in the outfield. With anybody in the outfield. Like they did with Wilmer Flores last time up.
Interesting, the Dodgers pitched Bryce Harper in. The Mets are trying him away.
Well, 332 with a 1-for-2 today. Tied with Stanton, 27 home runs. Arenado, Goldschmidt, and Stanton still ahead in RBIs. 2-0 pitch. Low and in.
Well, you're thinking with Span, Rendon, Worth, and Zimmerman back, maybe Jason Worth hitting in front of Bryce and Zimmerman behind him. But those RBI numbers will go up in August and September.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And I said the other day, those guys have to come back if Bryce has any chance for the Triple Crown. Because RBIs would be the question. You can control, to a certain extent, your batting average and your home runs, but you can't yourself put men on base in front of you.
That'd be cool if you could, though.
3-1. Danger count for Syndergaard here. And Harper rips one to right, base hit. Even with Flores playing in a rank pull position, he couldn't get to it. So Bryce is on base for the 5th time in this series, despite just 2 hits.
Bryce will take the knock, but he's wishing he had a little elevation on that baseball because he hit it as square as you can. On the ground base hit, he'll take it, tie and run to the plate in the form of Dan Ugla, but a good at bat by Bryce Harper. 2 for 3 and counting this ball game.
I mean, have you ever seen a guy coiled up for a swing like him? He really gets after it. Here's Ugla. That's right at Flores. Nothing Bryce can do but peel off on a tailor-made 4-6-3 double play. Dan Ugla's in the game because of what happened to Yunel Escobar leading off the bottom of the 2nd.
Yeah, just a check swing on a fastball in, let go of the bat. We've seen this happen before. We've seen it get up quickly and continue the at bat, stay in the game. But whatever happened on this check swing, and then the ensuing foul ball on the off-speed pitch down the left field line, Yunel Escobar simply, if you missed it, walked right into the dugout after that swing. Didn't even hesitate. Foul ball. I'm done. Dan Ugla came up. The strikeout goes to Yunel Escobar. Dan Ugla took 1 pitch. And if Dan Ugla would have put it in play, it would have been his at-bat.
Glenn Robinson with a healthy hack. Bounced out last time with 2 men aboard, 3rd inning. Bounced out his first time up back in the 2nd. And they were playing a shift on him then, like they are now, because nobody's on base. 2 fielders are in the outfield grass.
Is that 5-man outfield, you think? You go with that?
Looks like it.
I'll go with that.
Tejada's even standing slightly onto the grass.
6-man outfield. I'm going with it. Down by 2, the bunt is there.
Wilson Ramos on deck. Counts full here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 97 here in the 5th inning on a warm day by Syndergaard. Facing the Nats for the first time.
I mean, this might be the strangest shift all year. I know we talk about a lot. There's one guy in the dirt. It's Lucas Duda at first. I mean, just from where I'm looking, it just looks weird. There's nobody standing on the dirt.
And Clint Robinson with a good at bat. No shift works against a walk, and it'll be Ramos now with a base hit already. 5 walks by Syndergaard.
Well, Wilson Ramos starting to heat up. He's had 2 great at bats today, a single and a bullet to center field. He's 1 for 2, and yesterday the 2-run home run on a fastball up and away. So the Buffalo's starting to heat up here at the end of July, and a big at bat coming right here, right now, down by 2. He hit the ball to left center field last time, or for his base hit, I should say, in the second. See what they do to him right here. They try him away again.
He was ripping at 98 to try to tie this thing up.
He was on it too.
Right-hander Hansel Robles. We'll see a lot of the Mets bullpen today, as Syndergaard's at 95 pitches with 2 outs in the 5th. Way inside, counts even 1-1.
You know, that lull you're talking about might be all the sugar wearing off for the campers right about now.
It's about that time.
Yeah. They need to reload.
Cotton candy to section 304 right now, please.
I know it's a long day and they're out in the sun, but if they're crashing from their sugar high, they need to reload. Let's go. Cotton candy for everyone. Not me. I'm buying around.
Bob Uecker fan club way upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There you go.
Ramos pulls it to third for Daniel Murphy. Nats are gone in the 5th. They've left a frustrating total of 8 runners so far in a 3-1 game. For the season, they're fighting for a playoff spot. How about August 1st and 2nd next week? Goonies night, and they're going to induct Mike Cameron into the Potomac Hall of Fame. For all your ticket and promotional information, visit PotomacNationals.com. Top of the 6th here in D.C. Beautiful day for baseball. Both teams looking for a little more offense. So the Mets box, you can crowd most of it into the 4th inning. Tejada and Murphy back-to-back hits to lead off. Then after 2 outs, Lewinheist, the big blow on the curveball, the double to left center, 1 run, and then Plawecki on a broken bat single drove in the next. Jordan Zimmermann, 76 pitches, 55 strikes. He's had Flores in the air twice, once to center, once to left.
And once you know that Jordan Zimmermann had the biggest at bat of the day for the Nats in the second with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Hit the ball hard up the middle. Syndergaard made a nice play.
Hit sharply, too short. He and Desmond up with it. First out, 6th inning. Now Lewinheist, who got his first hit in this series with that 2-run double last time up, and then Plawecki. Jordan's been throwing first pitch strikes to the tune of about 70% today. A lot of action on the first 2 pitches of the game. The Granderson hit, the Tejada sacrifice.
You feel like he's been throwing strikes in general about the tune of 70% today.
Pretty good gas there, 94. Get a foul tip strike with it.
Mercedes going to show you a little cutter again here. You see how Wilson Ramos caught that ball moving in to Kurt Lewinheist.
And as Hansel Robles continues to fire in the bullpen, it looks like Syndergaard might be done for the day after 98 pitches and a season high 5 walks. Nats will have 7, 8, 9 due up. Bottom 6. 1-2 pitch with 1 out. Swing and a miss. Pitch upstairs, and that's number 5 for Jordan today.
There's no way Kirk Lewinheist was getting another curveball. The pitch he hit for the double with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Jordan Zimmermann just going with the gas there. All fastballs to Lewinheist.
Travis d'Arnaud got hurt early in the season. Plawecki called up April 20th. He's been a good stick throughout his years in the Mets organization. .292 career minor league hitter. Strong for a catcher. And an 0-2 is well inside. John Mayberry for Syndergaard if the inning continues. As the Mets again, for the 2nd time in the series, bat their pitcher 8th.
I've seen that a lot. And I still really am not seeing the difference.
It's hard to quantify what it's meant to a certain lineup. I don't, even if you saw it a couple times a week by the same manager, I'm not sure it has much of an effect.
And I would love to sit up here and go, oh yeah, I got that. I see why they do that. I mean, every once in a while when you have a speed guy hitting 9th and a speed guy leading off, you get back-to-back speed guys like 2 leadoff hitters. But I've never really seen it pay off on a consistent basis to where, oh yeah, I would definitely hit my pitcher 8th every single. Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Dominant inning for Jordan Zimmermann. Is he done? Desmond leads off, followed by Dendecker, and then Zimmerman's batting spot is 3rd.
time, you can treat your clients, employees, friends, and family to an amazing outing right here at the ballpark. In that experience, you could watch batting practice from the dugout. You could hold the finish line for the Geico President's Race. Visit nationals.com/groups for more details and to book your group experience today. You can hold the finish line while Bill's huge frame comes flying across for a rare win.
Nationals box score. Only one inning today. Have the Nats had more than one hit, and they got a run. Desmond and Taylor, fourth inning, around a Dendecker walk. Bryce Harper, a couple of hits today. Hansel Robles takes over for the Mets here, 24-year-old right-hander from the Dominican Republic. And Robles in 28 games, a 4.13 ERA, 19 strikeouts in 24 innings, but he's been hard to hit, 2.13.
That fastball average is 96, slider 88, 2 pitches.
Way outside, ball 2. Jordan Zimmerman's at 90 pitches. The bullpen is busy with Sammy Solis. Nats are playing with a short bench. And Desmond is short. Circling behind it, Tejada. It's close. And Ian Desmond is ruled safe. He's on for the third time today.
And he goes to 5 for 9 in the series. Post Cal Ripken talk. And you see this getting by Daniel Murphy, and you're thinking he's got a chance. Tejada going away from the play. Ian Desmond can run. And watch Ian Desmond go, smelling an infield single. Does a nice job of not looking at the play. Just pick up the base and go. Too many times you see players watching the play develop. There's nothing you can accomplish by watching the play other than if the ball gets through to take a turn. Once you see the fielder catch the ball, you know you have to run through the base, pick up the base, and go.
Well, I was thinking a couple of things could influence whether or not Jordan stays in the game. The short bench, he still has some bullets left on the mound. And if Dendecker can get aboard for the third straight time, Jordan could bunt a couple of guys ahead as he is in the on-deck circle, at least for now. Yeah, good point on the base running. You're quicker when you don't ball watch, right?
Yeah, and the only reason you do peek is to see if it gets through. Then you take a turn and you know it's a single. But once you see the defender catch the baseball, there's no reason to have your head turned watching the play. Put your head down and run. It's faster.
Dendecker has walked twice in the 8-hole today. For some reason, the Mets are having a hard time pitching to their ex-player. He was late for 95 on that. 2-2. This is what we talk about all the time. All these arms come out of these bullpen throwing mid-90s or higher. Good take there, 3-2. Right now, this becomes a pretty big pitch in this game, 6th inning. And Dendecker keeps his chances alive.
Tyler Moore ready for action. Bullpen's up. Matt Williams has an opportunity to pinch hit for Jordan Zimmerman if he feels necessary.
Three-2 again. Dendecker reaching, thinking it was close enough to at least take a hack.
I mean, he's frustrated that he swung at it, but when he had to make his decision, that ball was in the strike zone. He had some run to it at 93 late. And maybe he'll get a better one here.
What a good at bat by Matt Dendecker. How often do you see the number 8 batter walk 3 times in a row in a National League game? Jordan Zimmermann will bat, and he'll be trying to move a couple of runners here.
Well, he had a huge at bat in the 4th inning with runners on 1st and 2nd. With 1 out, couldn't get the bunt down. Now he has runners on 1st and 2nd here in the 6th inning with nobody out in a 2-run game. And how about the pitch selection there to Matt Dendecker? They decided to go 3-2 off speed, and he took ball 4. Game on. Nats in business. Huge at bat coming here for Jordan Zimmermann. Can really help himself. Doesn't have to be a great bunt. He's got good wheels on 2nd.
Right.
Good wheels on 1st. Talk about it all the time. Just make the first bounce be in the dirt. Doesn't have to be that directional with the speed he has running on the bases. Fast runners just get it on the ground. They'll take care of the rest.
Taylor and Espinosa, the next 2 hitters. Murphy on the grass. Duda ready to charge from the corners. Zimmermann deadens it perfectly. What a good bunt.
Huge.
Played by the catcher Plawecki on a 2-4. And the Nats have the tying run at second base.
Nicely done. Some high fives for Jordan Zimmermann in the first base dugout, helping himself out. Didn't get the bunt down his last time up. Makes the adjustment. And look at him deaden that baseball. Take all the rotation off it. Little Bellata action. First bounce in the dirt. That might have been a Pro V1X, I believe.
That was a great replay of how he had the bat head out ahead.
See the ball check up as soon as it hit the dirt?
That was lovely. Michael A. Taylor locked up on a 96 heater. Base hit to left center for the Nats' only run last time up.
Terry Collins deciding to play his infield back as he should with a tying run on second base. Michael Taylor just looking for contact somewhere up the middle of the infield here to make it a 1-run game. He'd take more, though.
Yeah, early enough in the game that 1 run does a world of good. Michael's been great in situations like this all year.
This is where you got to play Pepper. And what do I mean by that? Spread out, choke up, put the ball in play. Murphy's back. You can score on a ground ball to 3rd. You can score on a ground ball to 1st. Short 2nd. Just put her in play.
Taken up high, ball 1. Nobody playing anywhere near up the middle, so Dendecker can get a really big secondary lead 90 feet behind Ian Desmond. And a 1-2. Taylor takes a close one. Mets don't get the call. And Terry Collins eyeing the home plate umpire there.
Terry Collins asked if it was away.
Not away.
Not away. Michael Taylor lives to fight another pitch. Here we go.
And a 2-2. Fastball up, got him. It's up to Danny Espinosa with 2 outs. Danny 0 for 3 today, 3 for 11 in the series. He'd love to reach 30 RBIs right here, sitting on 28. 13 chances today. Nats have already left 8 men on base. 3 in the second, 2 in the third, 2 more in the fourth. A runner last inning, and now 2 aboard here in the sixth. That'll even things up, 1-1.
Plawecki asked him, hey, be careful with this guy. We might want to get the guy on deck.
Yeah, everybody gets Bryce Harper out.
We got a base right here. I'd say, well, it's a good matchup for Danny Espinosa. He's a good fastball hitter, and it looks like Robles really wants to challenge.
Yeah, well, it figures to be in a bed where he'll see something. Couple of strikes. He's got to see a couple of strikes here. One ball, one strike. Espinosa guides it up the middle. Tejada to get it, and he almost pulled Lucas Duda off the bag. So the Nats have stranded 10 now. It's been a frustrating long 6 innings here. 3-1 New York. They got a lot of contact outs, a lot of ground balls early. 18 pitches, 12 strikes in the first 2 innings. But he would get his first strikeout in the third against the opposing pitcher, Syndergaard. Later, he would get Lagares on that called strike. Duda in the fourth. And then Tejada in the fifth. A couple of them in the sixth with Neuenhuis and then Plawecki. So Jordan Zimmermann, 6 Ks on the day. He's given up 3 runs on 7 hits, and he's about to throw his 91st pitch against John Mayberry, who will bat for Hansel Robles, the reliever for the Mets, who just got the scoreless 6th inning. Mayberry career against Zimmermann pretty respectable, 3 for 6, but he's in an 0 for 13 slump, including 6 at bats in this series. Call that a mini slump, 13 at bats.
Sammy Solis getting hot in the Nats bullpen.
Yeah, he sat down when Zimmermann came up to bat before that really good sacrifice bunt. Jordan has gone at least 6 for the 15th time this year. He'll try to get through 7 innings for the 10th time. Out to Ian Desmond on the hot shot. And Jordan Zimmerman's only given up 2 hits now since the 4th inning. Juan Lagares is next. Henry Mejia, we saw some of his stuff here last night in a scoreless 7th inning. One of the guys he'll face here in the 7th, Clint Robinson, had a base hit against him last night. Juan Lagares 1 for 2, base hit, clean single to left field, back in the 5th. 93 up in the zone.
High strike, good frame by Ramos.
He tried to stop and evidently did. No swing, says Marty Foster. Cracked to short. Desmond picked it cleanly. He'll throw it just in case. The umpire behind him, Mike Winters, had already called the batter out.
But that's a good lesson for younger players out there. If you catch a low line drive, don't be the umpire, because you never know what the umpire sees. Ian Desmond knew he caught that ball on the line, but what did he do? He continued to play and threw it to first base just in case the ump didn't think that he caught it. He showed the ump, but hey, throw it across anyways. Now you're covering all your bases, right? He knows he caught it. But maybe second base umpire Mike Winters didn't see it like Ian Desmond saw it, so throw it across the infield. That's such a good lesson for younger players right there. Don't be the umpire. Continue the play.
There's Curtis Granderson with 2 down.
All of a sudden, Ian Desmond getting a little swagger to his game, I'm seeing.
I like it. We've been waiting.
He's been waiting. It's good to see, man.
And a high fly ball to deep right center for Michael A. Taylor. And guys all over baseball suddenly are dying to talk to Cal Ripken. 1, 2, 3 for Jordan Zimmerman. We arrive at the Hyundai 7th inning stretch. So Bryce will lead off. Folks on the concourse, find your seats. It's Harper, Ugla, and Robinson. Seven to 6, clean defensive game for both ball clubs. Pitchers in and out of trouble, and the Nats were not able to make Syndergaard pay for those 5 walks.
Now they're trying to get that big hit. Jordan Zimmerman had a big at-bat with the bases loaded. Danny Espinosa had a big at-bat right there, so they're still waiting for that big hit. Bryce Harper about to lead things off against Henry Mejia. So a lot of ball game left. You'd like to see the Nats find a way to claw back into this one and pull it out. Happy trip to Pittsburgh, a 4-game series there with a good ball club, but about a ball game left. Let's see what Bryce Harper could do.
These Mets, they don't do anything that you say wow, except for some of their arms, obviously, but they just been kind of hanging around all year. I was surprised at that graphic we had earlier in the game today that showed the Nats have only been in first place 2 days longer than New York all year.
They play good baseball. They grind it out on offense. They catch the ball on defense. I mean, and they're banged up too. So it's just it's a battle of two teams that aren't at full strength. And like I said, I'm interested later in the season, maybe even not on this road trip, but when both teams are at full strength, to see how the series plays out. As you look at Henry Mejia taking them out for only the 5th time this year after that long PED suspension he had.
That's a pretty big arm they've re-added to their bullpen. So here's Bryce. That's a strike up in the zone. Harper grounded out to first against Mejia last night. And Harper overall 0 for 5 career against the right-hander. He shows bunt. And that got Ruben Tejada on the move in from shortstop. He was about 100 feet from home plate. Now he's going to set up in the baseline.
Not the worst idea in the world, down by 2 runs.
It also opens up a lot of room on either side of Tejada for a ground ball to sneak through. And Bryce late for 94 right there.
Feel something in his hand on that swing.
Last 2 words were I'm all right, but
give me a second.
Really checking out that bottom hand.
I'm going to swing one more time. Probably not going to really see anything in the swing.
Now we know why Bryce took such a long walk after that. Protect mode now on 1 and 2, and Tejada has backed up again at short. Harper reaching for the ball. Duda to his pitcher. Harper 2 for 4 today. Next up, Dan Uggla.
I know what part of the hand he's reaching at. I'm not even going to say it.
Uggla 0 for 1 with a walk. And Mejia gets ahead, target away. Drops one over the outer half at 84. We've seen the Mets at times over the last couple of years when their bullpen was a shambles. You cannot say that about this bunch. And there's Matt Thornton for the Nationals. They came into this series with a bullpen ERA of 2.71. Nats did get a couple of runs off Alex Torres Monday night on the Desmond homer, but they've been lights out since. Scoreless on only 3 hits. Terry Collins trying to guide his ball club to within 1 game of the Nats if they can win this series. Uggla can't reach it. 2 outs.
All right, promise you earlier in the game. Here we go. It's your T-Mobile fan photo. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag NatsCouchCam, and you just might see yourself on TV. Matthew, you're on TV, and that's brought to you by T-Mobile. All right. Looks like a lefty. Struggling with the belt a little bit, but we like it.
Robinson 0 for 2 with a walk. Singled to right against Mejia for one of the 2 Nationals hits last night they had after the 5th inning. Shut down by Jacob deGrom, Mejia, Parnell, and Familia. 1 ball, 1 strike as he pulls the string well on 85. Then he goes 92 for strike 2.
Well, he literally runs off the mound after he finishes.
Yeah, we saw some of his emotion last year. A little over the top here and there. As a closer, he had 28 saves. And Robinson gets a good piece of this one out to right, but right short of the track, Anderson has it. And the Nats continue to struggle against the Mets bullpen. This one into the 8th inning now. New York still 3-1. Authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Bryce Harper evidently okay, back in right field for the top of the 8th inning. This call to the bullpen packaged by the UPS store. Matt Thornton answering that call. Your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Let us handle your mailbox service needs. We love logistics. Second appearance of the series at a 1-2-3 7th on Monday.
Fastball slider change. Fastball averaging 94.
He got Tejada on a grounder. Murphy on a grounder. That's the first 2 he faces here. So Ruben Tejada 2 for 3 career against the Nats lefty. And a ball well hit. Out to left center. Dendecker will get there. About 15 feet from that 377 mark. Bullpen notes will check in with Dan.
Bob, Nats fans know by now the turnover that this team has had in the bullpen this season, but here's some numerical proof. The Nats used 13 relievers the entire 2014 season. That includes September call-ups. They've already used 18 relievers this season. That includes Clint Robinson, a position player, but 17 legitimate relievers. We're not even into August yet.
That is an amazing number.
Right around this time last year that they got Matt Thornton off waivers from the Yankees, August 5th.
Yeah, that was a game changer, wasn't it?
It was. And his velocity's been up the last couple of outings, 94, 95. But since he's joined the Nationals, he's 1-0 with a 1.34 in 51 games.
Check swing by Murphy over to the left side. Danny Espinosa guns him out. Lucas Duda will be next. And he's 2 for 4 career with an RBI against the hard-throwing lefty. Craig Stammen has been sorely missed this year. Working the seeds. We look forward to seeing him and Vieira. So another pitcher, Strasburg, and then of course the big four in terms of the position players.
All on the mend, all on the way. Haven't heard a whole lot about Denard Span, however, but everybody else on the rehab assignments, and we're hoping to see them all soon.
1 ball, 1 strike. Duda 0 for 3 today in the series, 2 for 7. Bobby Parnell ready for the Mets. Pitched the 8th inning last night effectively. And Duda just does get a piece of it. Mets lead 3-1. They've out hit the Nats 7-6. Washington's had base runners in 5 out of 7 innings today. Sort of in between the shift. Danny Espinosa.
Sweet.
Put him anywhere. He's officially the third baseman right now. But you could call him third, short, or second.
Well, he had to get to that ball. If that ball gets to Uggla, it's a base hit. And he sells out for it right here, kind of loses his footing, spins to a knee, strong throw. Another great play by Danny Espinosa. One team to the right with the lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Remember our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers? They're donating $250 to the Children's National Health System. for every home run a Nats player hits this season. So keep them coming. It's for a wonderful cause. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
Talked to a couple of the Mets broadcasters after the game last night. Wilson Ramos will lead off against Bobby Parnell, and they had the same reaction I did when they saw that 96 fastball he threw to strike out Uggla last night. They had not seen that from him this year.
Yeah, the fastball's been averaging 92, and you remember back to 2011, this was a guy that's fastball averaged 97 miles an hour. Tommy John surgery, missed all of 2014, back on the mound for the Mets this year. He's got a curveball to go with it at 82.
He got Ramos and Dendecker last night on ground balls. Those two bad in this inning with Ian Desmond in the middle. And if Ramos can get aboard, Ian has great career numbers against Bobby Parnell. So the 6, 7, 8 hitters have gotten it done today. That Dendecker walked 3 times, which is most unusual. Not for him necessarily, but batting 8th it is for anybody.
Well, pitch around 8-hole guys a lot, so.
Yeah. Nats have been walked 6 times today. On the inside edge, 0-2 in a hurry. Wilson 1 for 3 today. So career against Bobby Parnell. He's 2 for 4 with a double and a walk. Abel De Los Santos, if the Nats don't tie it or take the lead. Drew Storen in the other scenario.
Nats need a bloop and a bomb.
Nowhere near contact on that 81. Way down and away. 1 out. Ian Desmond has 6 career hits against Bobby Parnell, 4 RBIs.
Pretty good slider right here. Or
Wow.
curveball, I should say, by Parnell. Excuse me.
Desmond a walk, 2 hits, a steal, a run today. So now 5 out of 9 in this series and on base 6 times.
Pretty good numbers against Parnell career too.
'92 with some run, a little bit of sink there.
But right now you can tell he's seeing the baseball then swinging instead of swinging then trying to see the baseball. There's a big difference this series. He just took a borderline pitch that he didn't like. That was something he wasn't seeing the ball earlier. See that? I mean, that's a pitch he swung at 4 games ago. So he's seeing the baseball. And when you're a good hitter and a good athlete as Ian Desmond is, that's really all there is to it. See the ball, hit the ball. And now he's seeing it.
Yeah, those last 2 pitches really tell the tale now. So 2-1 count in his favor. He'll take ball 3 as it ran inside. Matt Dendecker on deck. Good at bat. Ian Desmond's on for the 4th time today.
2 walks, 2 hits. And JT Snow, a former teammate, had one of the most simple approaches to hitting that I ever encountered. And his thing was see it. Whatever I need to do to see the baseball. Never got caught up in video or where my hands are, where my feet are. He just tried to keep his head still. And he said, if I could see the baseball, I could hit it. But if my head was moving all over and you're trying to hit a moving target, it just wasn't working. So it looks like Ian Desmond is seeing it.
Dendecker slaps one to center. They're playing deep. That's a base hit. Matt Dendecker, along with Ian Desmond, on base 4 times today. And Tyler Moore will have a big-time chance to influence this game.
Now the Nats had the bases loaded in the 2nd. They had 1st and 2nd in the 3rd. They had 1st and 2nd, 2 outs in the 4th. A couple base runners in the 5th. 1st and 2nd, nobody out in the 6th. And now 1st and 2nd, 1 out here in the 8th. They're trying to cash in. They're waiting for the big hit. And another good at bat from Matt Dendecker. And how about 7 and 8 on base 8 times today for the Nats? 4 for 4, both of those guys.
That's the kind of stat you usually throw out when your team's blowing the other team off the field.
Yeah.
Not in a 3-1 game when you're behind. That's crazy. Well, Tyler Moore, a chance to do something about it. Dan Warden, another visit to the mound.
Interesting choice here by Matt Williams, going with Tyler Moore, and maybe the fact that Michael Taylor's had trouble putting the ball in play today. He's going with Tyler Moore in the 3-run homer instead of the sacrifice bunt with, say, a Manny Burris.
Yeah. Tyler Moore is 0 for 2 career against Bobby Parnell.
But with 1 out, he wants the 3-run homer, or at least a double. No outs, he probably goes with Burris. 1 out, he's going with Tyler Moore.
As a pinch hitter, Tyler, 4 hits, a homer, 3 RBIs this year. And Parnell gets the call on that outside edge. That was close. Outfield deep. Didn't look like Tyler was asking for time. Might have been the catcher.
Stolen base definitely in play right here if they don't hold Desmond. Decker looking at Desmond, trying to get a jump with him. Parnell slow.
Way outside, and a good scramble to the right. And Ian Desmond went about 10 extra feet when he saw that ball in the dirt, put on the brakes and went back.
Good decision by Ian Desmond. He needed a little more of a kick to the right. Pretty good block by Plawecki right here, but he just wants a little bit more of a kick. The ball stays right in front. Desmond had to put on the brakes and hustle back to second.
One ball, one strike. Tyler Moore gashes one to left, and it's right at Neuenhuis. 2 outs. It's up to Taylor now here in the 8th.
Good at bat. That's all you can do. Come off the bench, put the barrel on the baseball, hit it right on the screws. Just hit it too hard.
And now Michael A. Taylor will face Parnell for the first time. Michael A. Taylor 1 for 4 RBI single today. Good speed out there. They give him left center. And that's a foul tip that evens the count 1-1.
Kind of surprised that Curtis Granderson is playing normal depth in right field right now with a tie and run on first base in the bottom of the 8th. Usually, as you look at Jeurys Familia get loose, usually as an outfielder you play no doubles in this situation and cut down the angles in the gap and nothing over your head. Michael Taylor does have pop that way, and
yeah,
Terry Collins decided to play it straight up with his right fielder here.
His first big league home run against the Mets was to right center last year. Not in this ballpark, but Citi Field's pretty big out there too. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Michael, who's driven in 33 runs.
'97.
Taylor takes it, the ball gets away, and that is big.
Huge.
90 feet advancing for the tying run. Dendecker to second, Desmond to third.
Well, the biggest part of that is they asked Marty Foster if Michael Taylor went. He said no, so game on. Base hit, got a tie ball game. Good take. Ball gets away. Runners advance. Tying run at second.
I think the Juan Lagares may have snuck in a few steps in center after that pitch. 3-2 now with 2 men aboard. Taylor rips it to left. Desmond scores. Here comes Dendecker. The Nats finally get that big hit to tie the game. And the wild pitch enables them to make it 3-3.
High fives everywhere right now. At home plate, in the stands, in the dugout, Michael Taylor clutch.
All 3 RBIs today. Inning not over yet. Danny Espinosa next.
Boy, not very often do you get a second chance in this game. Michael Taylor with a big at-bat in the 6th. Couldn't get it done. Bigger at-bat here in the 8th with 2 strikes. And definitely gets it done. Good lead by Matt Dendecker. Did you see that at the top of the screen? He had a huge lead, a big secondary. Could have been a close play at the plate if he didn't have that lead. So with 2 strikes and 2 outs, great swing by Michael Taylor. Great base running by Matt Dendecker to tie this game up.
I'd say Matt was a little psyched about scoring the tying run against his teammates, old teammates. Taylor didn't get a great jump, but he's in there. And Michael A. Taylor swipes his 9th of the year. The Nats are going for the jugular here in the 8th. And you know they're not going to walk Espinosa.
Now, Parnell's been delivered all inning. He actually sped up his delivery right there to make it this close at second base. But Michael Taylor, not satisfied with tying this game up, gets himself in scoring position with a big stolen base here in the bottom of the 8th. Danny Espinosa trying to win the ball game right here, right now. At least put his team up.
Well, there's only one guy throwing in the bullpen now in right field. And there might be a different guy throwing in left field.
Good ball game.
It is now.
Wow, this has been a good game all day.
1-0 to Espinosa. Trying to bust up an 0 for 4 here. And that's a base hit. Left field corner. The Nats will take the lead. Clutch, 2 out, 8th inning hitting. 4-3 Washington. I doubt if they'll be pitching to Bryce Harper here, but the Nats have taken the lead. What a dramatic rally.
Well, it started with the Ian Desmond walk. What a great at-bat by Ian. Then Dendecker with the single up the middle. Tyler Moore with a bullet hang with him at-bat off the bench. Michael Taylor, clutch 2-out knock, steals second. And Danny Espinosa, the man of the hour, putting his ball club up 4-3 with a clutch 2-out double here in the bottom of the 8th.
So Bryce Harper will be walked, and they'll take on Dan Uggla.
A great 2-strike adjustment by Taylor. Shortened up his swing, put it in play. You haven't seen a whole lot of this year from the Nats. Last year they had all those walk-offs in a row, battling back.
Yeah.
But we talked about it last night. The bullpen keeping the game right where it's at, not letting it get away, keeping the game so that you have a chance offensively to win it late. And while there's been clutch at-bats and clutch hits here in this inning, the bullpen today has been outstanding.
Yeah, great call on your part last night in a game when it didn't work out. 3-2 became 7-2.
This little inside-out swing. Ball in the inner half, lets it get deep. Daniel Murphy way off the line.
This is the 5th time this year the Nats have overcome a deficit of 3 or more runs. Last time they did it, May 19th against the Yankees. So they got a New York thing going here.
I mean, you're looking at a 1-game lead going into Pittsburgh or a 3-game lead going into Pittsburgh. Nats trying to add on to the 4-3 lead here in the 8th. Still big at bat right here for Dan Uggla.
He goes up swinging. Dan Uggla, career 5 for 17 with a home run against Bobby Parnell.
Jose Lobaton looking for a W.
And Drew Storen in a moment, maybe more than a moment, looking for a save. Big crowd, 41,291, a sellout today. Finally got rewarded in this inning. Here's the 0-1 to Uggla. Breaking ball hit out to short. Ruben Tejada throws him out. We're going to the 9th. So the Nats, with 2 outs in the 8th, scored 3 runs. And Matt Dendecker came roaring home with the tying run and pumping his fist as he slides right by a former teammate. Puts them ahead, and now Drew Storen will try to put the Mets away. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. It's MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night, every device. Blackout, other restrictions apply. MLB.TV. Log on for details. Drew Storen will face Flores, Neuenhuis, and Plawecki, 5, 6, 7.
Fastball 94, slider changey arsenal. 38th appearance for Drew Storen, 28 for 30 in save opportunities, 41 strikeouts versus 9 walks. Opponents hitting .217. And when I said you haven't seen a lot of comebacks from the Nats this year like you have in the past, 2 and 33 when trailing after 7 innings this year. So a big-time comeback, and Drew Storen trying to nail it down.
Wilmer Flores 0 for 2 career against him. Storen got some work here Monday night. Gave up a couple of hits, but struck out 2. Got a scoreless 9th inning. Nailed it down for Gio. Now he's trying to nail it down for the series win. This would even the homestand. And Drew Storen gets the fastball, 95 for a strike to the outer edge. Center fielder Michael A. Taylor, about 10 or 15 feet over toward the right center gap. Drew a chance to be right on the heels of Mark Melancon by the time the Nats get to Pittsburgh. Pirates are at Kansas City tonight.
He's trying to be one save out of first place.
1-2. Buries the slider. Flores not biting, ball 2.
That's where I think it gets harder for closers late in the season when you're in your division and you face ball clubs so many times. Now, you face a team 6 times a year, 7 times a year. Your stuff is a mystery to guys no matter how much they watch it on video.
Up and in.
And your patterns are a mystery to them too. They're just see ball, hit ball. But when you're in your division, you're facing a closer, I don't know what, out of 19 games, maybe 8 or 9 times. You know what he's going to do to you. And when you're in the division for a number of years and you've faced him, you kind of have a good idea of release point, rotation, and his patterns. So the saves become a little more difficult in your division in August and September.
Don't want to walk the leadoff guy. 3-2 pitch. He did, but he swung. How about that? Wilmer Flores goes down low to swing at ball 4, and Drew Storen and the Nats get a big out. And sometimes hitters get themselves out.
Oh, he might have been thinking about 3-2 slider right here, and went emergency hack, realized it was a fastball and it was too late. Big first out here in the top of the 9th.
Next up, Kirk Neuenhuis, who Drew got out the other night with a strikeout. Neuenhuis 0 for 6 career against him. Strike call with the slider, 82. Clint Robinson guarding the line at first. Bryce Harper deep in right. Ugla on the edge of the infield. Now a step onto the outfield grass on the pull side.
Changeup 88. Nasty. Neuenhuis saw it in. He recognized fastball, and it was a changeup with a lot of movement on it, down and in.
2 strikeouts among that 0 for 6 that we mentioned a moment ago, including one in this series. The 0-2 with 1 out. Had him reaching for off speed again. This series against the Mets drawing over 110,000 on weekdays and weeknights here at Nationals Park.
McLovin wants a series win.
0-2. And Neuenhuis hanging in there. I mean, he's seeing some good secondary pitches from Drew Storen right now. Byron and Phil in the yard, hoping to talk about a series win. On the 0-2. Goes up and away with 96. Changeup just missing away.
It's a good take by Neuenhuis. Unless he was just totally fooled by the changeup. That pitch was a strike for a long time. Just broke out of the zone at the very end. A lot of guys swing at this one.
Backdoor slider came from outside to strike him out.
One guy clapping, one guy trying to figure out what's going on. Backdoor slider doesn't really come back. Great frame by Wilson Ramos, and Neuenhuis can't believe it. too close to take with 2 strikes. Drew Storen and the Nats will definitely take it. Neuenhuis still flustered going back to his dugout, letting Mark Wagner know exactly what he thinks.
Kevin Plawecki, the hitter. He's 0 for 2 career against Storen. And Drew bolts the fastball for strike 1.
96. He is feeling good today.
Got some work Monday night. 2 days later, trying to get the Nats their 51st win of the year. Right in there, 0-2. Drew Storen's gone 0-2 on all 3 hitters here in the 9th. The 1-2 way outside.
A couple of overthrows on the slider.
Espinosa guarding the line at third. That's well outside. 3-2. So Drew got ahead. Has been nibbling. Nats lead 4-3 with a 3-run 8th inning. Fastball challenged him. Straight back and went.
Plawecki was on that.
Rookie catchers hit a couple of home runs this year. Did he go? He did. The game's over, the series is over, and the Nats win it with a dramatic comeback in the rubber game. Drew Storen.